Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of At the Coalface Live for today, 18th of March, Friday, the 18th of March, 2022. It is awesome to be here with you again today, as I am nearly every single Friday. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about Amazon. Now, I know I cover Amazon as much as I can in a lot of my content, a lot of my posts on LinkedIn, etc. But I think Amazon deserves a little bit of extra attention this week as Amazon makes massive, massive news this week. So, one of the major pieces of news this week is that Amazon closes its $8.5 billion deal to acquire MGM, which is its second largest acquisition ever. And out of GeekWire, it's been all over the news this week. But out of GeekWire, Amazon said Thursday that its deal to acquire Hollywood studio MGM, announced in May 2021, has closed. The $8.45 billion deal is Amazon's second largest acquisition behind its $13.7 billion purchase of Whole Foods in 2017. MGM will provide Amazon with more than 4,000 films and 17,000 TV shows that have collectively won more than 180 Academy Awards and 100 Emmys. Purchasing the historic Hollywood studio is a major boon to Amazon's growing media arm. Amazon is already an active player in film and television with content it creates and acquires through Amazon Studios and that it broadcasts through its streaming service Prime Video. Amazon also owns imdb.com. Just as a side note for me, they also own Twitch, which is, of course, a very, very popular video game streaming service. The deal also signals Amazon's continued investment in its media arm to compete against the likes of other streaming giants such as Netflix, Hulu, and Disney. Amazon uses Prime Video as one of many perks, including free shipping, cloud storage, etc., for its $139 a year Prime membership, which counts 200 million members globally. Amazon spent $13 billion on video and music content last year, up 18% from the year prior. Regulators in the U.S. reportedly operating under a deadline of March 15th to determine whether to challenge the deal. Amazon did not provide details of the FTC review of the deal in its announcement on Thursday. Earlier this week, the European Commission gave unconditional approval to Amazon's acquisition, saying Tuesday that its review determined that the deal would raise no competition concerns in the European region. And the Wall Street Journal reported that the FTC could still challenge the acquisition in the future. Amazon previously sought the recusal of FTC chairwoman Lina Khan from the merger review, pointing specifically at her previous criticisms of the company's reach and power. The deal comes as regulators increasingly take aim at big tech and antitrust-related legislation. Last year, Senator Elizabeth Warren sent a letter to Khan asserting that Amazon's billion-dollar bid for MGM might harm consumers and extend Amazon's market dominance beyond an acceptable level. Now, if we just take this, at face value, obviously, it seems that regulators the world over are loath to rein in big tech. I mean, some of these big tech companies, they have some of them have revenues that rival the GDP of small countries. And so when it comes to lobbying power, when it comes to voting power, when it comes to the amount of consumers that they engage with, that they can mobilize against a government or against regulation, it is phenomenal. It's similar to how Uber reached Uber scale all around the world. And then in places where Uber was popular and where individual cities started to make a move to block them out or regulate them out of specific cities or specific areas, then they were able to mobilize their own consumers to lobby those cities, towns, governments, etc., or major infrastructure hubs. They were able to mobilize by contacting those customers who had used an Uber service within, say, the previous 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, year. And they were able to mobilize that group as effectively lobbyists on behalf of Uber. And that has been massively effective for them around the world, particularly as, states like California, for example, wanted to change them from effectively a contract employer to a full-time employer. And so, Uber and many other companies have been able to mobilize their most faithful and most vocal customers on their behalf against heavy-handed legislation. And I suspect that Amazon is no different. Obviously, with 200 million members of Amazon Prime, and with all of this content from MGM now going to be able to fall under Amazon Prime, be able to be leveraged as a sweetener for Amazon Prime. Obviously, this would have given regulators pause in terms of, how much risk is it? When we think about the other major live streaming players that compete against Amazon Prime, obviously there are several others, and they're growing very fast. Even if we just look at Disney Plus, which is one of the most recent entrants to the game, they're already one of the largest. When we think about how fast they're growing and the deals they are able to put together with their franchises, their existing franchises that are underneath the Disney brand, their merch, etc. We see how fast Disney is growing, how fast it's accruing subscribers. We know how fast Netflix has grown and continues to grow. We know how much competition there already is in the streaming space. So not only obviously were regulators looking at how much competition would be left despite this acquisition, but also, what does the public actually want to see? And is the public crying out against Amazon? Did they receive a lot of complaints in regards to this MGM deal? I suspect that they did not, given how many customers they have for Prime Video in the market. And so when we think of it that way, when we think of mobilizing your customer base as brand advocates, as effectively lobbyists on behalf of your brand, Amazon obviously does this better than almost anyone. Uber and some of these other brands do it very, very well. And I think we can all learn something from this. And obviously, Amazon has massive reach. So, do I think that this is potentially going to damage competition? Of course it will. MGM being independent means that other streaming services can license that content from them if they so desire, and can do a licensing deal with them on either an exclusive basis or on a shared licensing basis. But obviously, it's highly likely that Amazon, once this deal is in the books and actually a done deal, it's highly likely that they will no longer license that content to other studios, to other online services, to other streaming services, to other cable channels, etc. And they will keep all of that content as an exclusive sweetener for Amazon Prime Video. Will that destroy the market for other streaming content and other streaming brands? Absolutely not, but it certainly will reduce competition to a degree. Obviously the regulators felt that it wouldn't reduce competition enough to warrant blocking the deal. So let's just see how this one plays out. And if we think about some of the complaints that Amazon has had against it for a number of years, we can even think about some of the most recent news around this. So, Amazon has had many complaints, both about its working conditions in its warehouses. It has had many complaints against it around its blocking of unionization all around the world. It's de facto blocking of unionization and collective class action around the world on behalf of labor. However, having said that, they also pay some of the best wages in the industry for most of the roles that they have, particularly in their warehousing and logistics. So, I guess some of those complaints have been offset by the fact that they've done a pretty good job in making sure that they're competitive in terms of the wages that they pay their teams. However, that has not seen them completely avoid the ire of both regulators and consumers in many respects. And most certainly, they still continue to draw massive ire from competitors. I mean, as recently as 4 days ago, Reuters came out with an article, a story called "Shareholders Urge Amazon to Boost Tax Transparency." And taxation is one of the areas that Amazon continually gets attacked, along with Jeff Bezos directly. Famously, I guess Bezos didn't pay tax over a few years because of the way he had structured his tax affairs. So I'm not going to say anything about that specifically, but particularly Amazon itself, in the way that it domiciles its taxes in relation to where it's legally domiciled as a company. Now, certainly it's a multinational, but obviously they have some of the most high-powered tax attorneys in the world to be able to structure their business affairs in such a way that they minimize their taxation. And I'm all for companies trying to minimize their taxes within the framework of the law. But I guess when we have a company that's as big as Amazon, it starts to require a little bit more attention, a little bit more transparency. And I think that that's why shareholders are actually calling out for that now. And Reuters said a group of 24 Amazon investors urging the tech giant to step up its transparency and tax disclosure and adopt a new reporting standard, the Financial Times said on Sunday. Asset managers Nordea, Royal London, and several other large European and U.S. pension funds are among those pushing for Amazon to issue a transparency report in line with Global Reporting Initiative, or GRI, tax standards. The newspaper said they want to bring a shareholders resolution demanding the new standard at the company's annual meeting this year. Citing a letter to be sent this week to the U.S. regulator, the Securities and Exchange Commission, aggressive tax practices can expose a company and its investors to increased scrutiny from tax authorities, adjustment risks, and increase their vulnerability to changes in tax rules, the investors said. These measures come at a time when nations are looking to protect their tax bases from deleterious practices, they added in the letter seen by the FT. The groups that signed the letter include 100 environmental, social, and governance-focused and religious funds, although not all were investors, the paper said. And as Amazon spokespersons declined to comment on the resolution, but pointed to last month's no action request when the company barred a similar shareholder proposal. The proposal implicates exactly the type of ordinary business issues for which resolution should remain within the company's management and board, Amazon said. It would be impractical for shareholders to exercise direct oversight of such issues, it added. Amazon current extensive tax disclosures are in line with the U.S.'s generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, it said, adding that it has publicly reported tax payments in the United States, Britain, France, Italy, and Spain. So obviously they've come under, scrutiny for taxation before, but clearly we have some shareholders basically openly saying if Amazon continues to, obfuscate both its tax obligations and its tax payments, then it potentially is going to draw further scrutiny from the likes of the IRS, and they, as shareholders, see this as a risk to be mitigated by the business through better transparency. So let's see how Amazon plays this one over the next coming 12 to 18 months. Now, it has also been under ire, basically been challenged on a number of different fronts around its transparency in how it structures search results on its own marketplaces, how it boosts its own name-branded products or its own house-branded products versus competing products, how it boosts search results for products that it sells on a first-person or 1P basis versus third-party basis, selling the same products and the same brands, and how it has been, it has been chastised for hiding how its algorithms actually work to create the results that it does on its own platforms. And in fact, if we look at March 15th, so this is only 3 days ago, they came under fire yet again for knowingly tricking people into signing up for Prime for many years. And this came out of Charged Retail out of the UK. The report says Amazon has knowingly tricked its users into signing up for its premium Prime subscription offering. Documents shared with Business Insider reveal, so obviously the report originally came from Business Insider. Documents revealed that the company has been concerned that its user interface on Amazon has led customers to feel pressured into signing up for Prime since at least 2017. These specific design decisions, which are commonly referred to as dark patterns, intentionally push users into acting unintentionally through misleading captions or imagery. If a user clicks on the Get Free 2-Day Delivery with Prime tab at checkout, there is no additional confirmation steps, and the shopper is automatically signed up to the 30-day free Prime trial, which after 30 days incurs a cost. In order to cancel the subscription they unintentionally signed up for, users have to navigate through a number of pages to end the subscription. Despite the e-commerce giant being aware of these complaints for a number of years, it didn't take any serious action to amend it, according to the documents and 6 current and former employees who were interviewed by Business Insider. In a number of cases, fixes for the issues were put forward for consideration, however, resulted in lower subscription growth when tested, so were canned as a result. Some Amazon employees have also expressed concerns over increased attention from the FTC, or Federal Trade Commission, on the matter of subscription signups, which may force Amazon to take further action. The regulator has kept a watchful eye on Amazon's subscription practices over the past few years, according to people familiar with the matter who spoke to Business Insider. Amazon VP of Prime, Jamil Ghani, told Business Insider that the sign-up and cancellation process for Prime are simple and transparent and clearly present customers with choices and the implications of those choices. Customer transparency and trust top priorities by us, and blah, 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 all the boilerplate stuff that Amazon always says. So, I don't have a take on this. I am not a Prime subscriber. I don't shop with Amazon that often, to be honest. Amazon is just simply not that big of a deal down here in ANZ. Now, are they trying? Absolutely. And the next story absolutely points to the fact that they are going really, really hard out in the ANZ region to try to expand their reach in competition with the many other very, very successful marketplaces operating in the ANZ region, specifically in Australia. So this report comes out of Internet Retailing, and it says that Amazon is to open its first Australian sort center in Melbourne. So Amazon Australia says construction of its first sort center facility in the country has commenced in Melbourne. The 15,600 square meter operations facility will open this year It is located at Goodman Group's new Amaru Business Park in Craigieburn. Craig Fuller, Director of Operations, Amazon Australia, says, "We know the past few years have been tough for Melburnians, and we're grateful to have had the opportunity to support our Victorian customers by helping them get the items they need delivered to their homes and supporting thousands of small and medium-sized Australian businesses and reaching their customers more efficiently. The purpose-built sort center located in the north of Melbourne will enhance the company's delivery speed for customers across the country. The fifth Amazon facility in Melbourne, it will create over 200 jobs ranging from entry-level to specialist roles and leadership positions." And we know, obviously, that late 2021, Amazon opened its largest distribution center in Sydney in the Southern Hemisphere. So obviously Amazon is making a play for the heavy play and heavy investment in the ANZ region. They want to dominate it. And late last year, they also opened up a opportunity for Kiwis to shop on the Amazon Australia website and to get free shipping on many, many products, and also offering very competitive shipping prices on products that don't get free shipping. So we know that Amazon is going hammer and tongs at this market in this part of the world. However, it remains to be seen. You can't get Amazon Prime here in New Zealand, for example. And so Amazon Prime, which is the sledgehammer that Amazon uses to assert their dominance, particularly in new markets, it remains to be seen how exactly they're going to use that leverage in the ANZ region to continue to grow their market share, particularly down here. So let's keep an eye on that. But definitely, Amazon has more competition in the retail, particularly the online retail space in ANZ versus just about any other market they operate in. So hopefully that will keep them honest. Hopefully it will force them to be transparent about what they're doing. Hopefully regulators down here have a few more teeth, perhaps, to make sure that Amazon doesn't harm competition illegally down here. Hopefully they'll have a bit more teeth than the regulators in the States seem to have at the moment. Now, the next biggest, I guess, piece of news that I'd love to cover off is the fact that Amazon clearly has an agenda when it comes to courting online retailers that either today don't sell on Amazon at all, or perhaps they sell on Amazon, but they also sell online using other platforms such as Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, etc. And as a result of that, when we look back at their acquisition plays over the last year and a bit, we can start to see this strategy coming into a little bit of focus about what they might do using technology that they've acquired. And when we look at their acquisition in February of 2021 of Selz, and that's spelled S-E-L-Z. Selz is a online e-commerce platform. It's a SaaS platform. I guess you can think of it almost like a not very well-known Shopify or BigCommerce. And then they also acquired the Indian point-of-sale platform Purpule in March of 2021. And then in November of 2021, they acquired the order management platform, order management system, Viquo. And that was not announced in November of 21. The acquisition actually took place in November of 21, but that was only confirmed or announced very, very recently over the last couple of weeks. So now when we think about this, not only do they have a marketplace play that they can offer to their customers, they also now have a complete media and marketing and ads platform through Amazon Ads. Even if you don't sell on Amazon, you can still advertise on Amazon, similar to, they are third in ad sales behind Google and Facebook. So they're growing very, very rapidly. So they have not only a sales and marketplace platform, they've got a marketing platform, and now it looks like they are going to be bringing offline or off Amazon sales, at least a package of functionality, a package of technology that they can go to market with. So they'll have an e-commerce platform, they'll have a point of sale platform, and they'll have an order management platform. And assuming that all of these systems are integrated together, plus integrated with Amazon Marketplace, you can imagine that they can come together with a very, very compelling offering for as a prime offering for merchants. So they might say, hey, look, if you sign on for all of these technologies, including our marketplace, and you effectively use us as your omni-channel selling platform, full stop, then maybe we'll give you, maybe we'll give you 10% off are FBA services in terms of fulfillment of your goods and services across all these sales channels. So, or maybe we'll give you 10% off all advertising that you do on Amazon.com and its associated properties. So you can imagine that if you're Amazon and they got out of the e-commerce platform game a few years ago when they sold their shops platform and functionality, it looks like they realized that really they gave up the golden ticket to compete against Shopify and the like by not having a service or a platform that allows brands to sell outside of Amazon itself. And so I think they've realized that weakness, and clearly they're making moves to close that gap and to create a compelling offering for merchants that is complete omni-channel offering. So let's see how this plays out. But it's very, very clear where Shopify intends to go with these acquisitions. And they certainly have the resources. They certainly have the capability. They certainly have the tech chops to be able to integrate all of these together. And also remember that their cost to deliver these services will be infinitesimal when you think about the fact that they can simply move all of the infrastructure and all of the hosting of these acquired platforms over to AWS, where effectively they get infrastructure at cost, and where it allows them to lower their cost, but also extend these services out to merchants, much like their Just Walk Out technology, much like a lot of their other AWS services, which started out as a cost center in the business. So they had to have infrastructure, obviously, for their own web properties. And instead of simply retaining that as an internal service only, they have now externalized a lot of these services and turned them from a cost center into a profit center. As we know, AWS is the most profitable section of the Amazon business, and it actually largely subsidizes a lot of other commercial entities that fall under the Amazon banner, including Amazon.com. So it allows them to compete much more strongly in all of the other areas they play in through the subsidization, through the massive revenue and profitability of AWS. So you can expect them to move all of these acquired technologies over to AWS infrastructure at a very, very low cost basis and be able to extend these services out to other merchants at a very low cost basis and a very high margin basis. So it gives them massive capability to bundle and slice and dice the different channels that they can service as a brand. Overall, it allows them to slice and dice these in very, very compelling ways for merchants to have almost like a turnkey merchant solution. And obviously they can bring payments under that, and they can do all sorts of other things that allow them to outcompete. And then I think if we think about a potential expansion of Amazon Prime outside of a pure paid membership service, and we start thinking about bringing it in line with more of a loyalty program that perhaps allows you to offset some of your costs of Prime by shopping with Amazon merchants that are full omni-channel with Amazon. And you think about those merchants that maybe want to offer a loyalty program, but as a standalone entity, they might not be able to add much value in the form of a loyalty program. But as part of a collective whole of the entire pantheon of Amazon third-party merchants selling both on and off Amazon, if they had a collective loyalty program outside of Prime, or maybe even as part of Prime, but as a separate functionality sitting within Prime, you can all of a sudden start to see how this starts to create a very, very turnkey merchant solution with marketing, with loyalty, and with omni-channel services. So I think that if we take the holistic view of what Amazon is doing and the moves that it's doing overall, I think this points very, very clearly at Amazon wanting to own the merchant experience overall and provide turnkey services to merchants around the world, outside of course, China and other parts of Asia where they don't play and they can't play legally. So I think we need to pay attention. I think we need to watch this space. I think there's a lot of exciting things happening with Amazon. But they very much are at the moment considered a frenemy by many, many brands when you consider the fact that Amazon uses its own seller data across its marketplaces and other channels to decide what it wants to cherry pick and sell direct on a first party basis to its own customers. It also helps to inform new product development of its house brand products to compete with name brand products in the market. And ultimately, Amazon does put hundreds of small businesses out of business every year. We know this, but then again, on the flip side, it allows merchants to reach a customer base that they cannot access any other way. So that's why they're considered a frenemy in the market. Anyways, it's fantastic to be able to be with you here this week and to talk about Amazon, to give you my thoughts, to share some of the stories around Amazon that came out this week, as well as some of the historical actions that Amazon has been taking to secure a deeper talons or a deeper grasp on the entire e-commerce merchant community. So keep an eye on that. I'll keep bringing the news to you, and I'll keep showing up as long as you guys keep enjoying the content. So have a fabulous weekend, and we'll see you next Friday on At the Coalface Live. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.